Hello and welcome to this new video on OS interview questions. In this video, we are going to cover the questions on process synchronization. So guys, if these videos are helping you in any manner, do subscribe and share your feedback or topics on which you want me to prepare more videos. The first question that we are going to discuss is, what is a race condition? If I go with the definition, race condition is a situation where several processes access and manipulate the same data concurrently and the output of the execution depends upon the particular order in which the access takes place. Now what we mean by this is that the final value will depend upon which process finishes last. Let's take an example to understand this. So let us suppose that the shared variable that we are talking about in the definition is the variable counter, whose value is 5. And if we perform two operations, counter plus plus or counter minus minus, one after the other, it doesn't matter in which order you do it, what should be the ultimate value? So if you increase the value and then decrease it by 1, the final value of the counter variable will still be 5. Now let us see how race condition occurs. So if you write the operation counter plus plus or counter minus minus in any high level language, so counter plus plus if you use it in C or C++, the machine level implementation for this will be the value of the counter variable will be copied into the register, then the register value will be updated, and then finally the value from the register will be pushed back into the counter variable. So counter plus plus and counter minus minus will happen as shown on the screen. Now coming back to the two operations, so let us suppose that there are two processes P1 and P2. P1 is performing the counter plus plus operation and P2 performs the counter minus minus operation. So let's see what happens at each instance. Okay, so let us suppose that P1 starts at time t is equal to 0 and P2 starts at time t is equal to 1. So at time t is equal to 0, since P1 is the only process, so P1 executes its first operation, which is what? Register 1 is equal to counter. So if the value of counter is 5, this means that the value of register 1 will also be 5. So at time t is equal to 0, value of register 1 is 5 and counter is also 5. Now at time t is equal to 1, the P1 process executes the second line, whereas the P2 process, it starts at time t1, so it executes its first line. Now second line of P1 is register 1 is equal to register 1 plus 1, so it increments the value of the register 1. So value of register 1 becomes 6. Value of counter is copied into register 2. This is done by the P2 process. So since the value of counter is still 5, so value of register 2 also becomes 5. At time t is equal to 2, P1 executes the last operation, which is register 1 is equal to counter. So whatever is the value of register 1, which is 6, becomes the value of the counter variable. So the value of counter variable becomes 6. At the same time, process 2 decrements the value of register 2. So from 5 it becomes 4. Finally, at time t is equal to 3, P2 executes the last statement, which is pushing the value of register 2 back into counter. So what is the value of register 2? 4. Hence the value of counter becomes 4. So the final value is not 5 as expected, but it is 4 because two processes have executed at the same time, their operations have overlapped and they have updated the value of a shared variable without being synced with each other. Hence the value is different. Now if you execute the operations in the opposite manner, for example, if you start with the process P2 and end with process P1, you will see that the final value of the counter variable is not 4, is not 5, but it will be 6. So the ultimate value will depend upon the operation or in the order in which the two processes executed. So this is what is referred to as race condition. Second question, which portion of the process is referred to as critical section? So generally students think that the entire code is the critical section, but it is not. It is just that portion, that is those 5, 10 or 20 lines in which a process may be changing variables or updating a table or writing into a file. So if this is your entire code, the entire code is not the critical section. It is only a few lines, like in this case it is just a single line C++ in which the shared variable C is modified. So that set can be 1 or 10 or 20 or maybe 30 lines in which the shared variable is being modified. And what we want is, we want that no two processes should be allowed to execute in their critical section at the same time. And for this we come up with critical section problem, which is to design a protocol that the processes can use to cooperate. The third question is, wait and signal operations are defined as atomic operations. So if you look at the definition of semaphores, you will see that there is a word that the wait and signal operations must be atomic. In the definition there is this word. Now what do you mean by atomic operations here? So by atomic we mean that whatever code is there within wait and signal, that is with which we are modifying the semaphore variable S, those operations are indivisible. Indivisible means that when one process is modifying the value of semaphore variable S, no other process should be able to interrupt the current process, because if it is able to do so, then we will be back to the problem of race condition and the problem of synchronization will not be solved. So it is important to ensure that the wait and signal are indivisible, that is they must be atomic. They should be executed by one process only at a time. Now what operations we are referring to are like S less than equal to 0 or S minus minus. So such operations must be executed without interruption. One process must not be able to interrupt any other process which is executing the wait or signal operations. Because if we allow this, just assume that two processes are simultaneously checking S less than 0 within the wait, and both do it at the same time and the condition is true, then both processes will be able to enter the critical section, and this is what we don't want. The fourth question is, under what situations counting semaphores are used? There are two kinds of semaphore variables, binary and counting. To understand the difference between binary and counting, let's take an example. Let's suppose that there is only one printer available in an office. If two users want to print their documents, can they do it at the same time? The answer is no, because there is only one printer, so only one can use it to print. But what if there are two printers available? Then how many users can print at the same time? 2. The third one will have to wait. That is, the synchronization issue will arise if there are more than two processes. Similarly, if there are three printers, then three users or three processes can print at the same time, but the fourth one will have to wait. So printer here was the resource and instances are how many of the printers are available. If we have only one instance, then we use binary semaphore, and whenever we have multiple instances, that is 2, 3 or 5 or 10, then we use counting semaphores, because at the same time more than one process can use those instances of the given resource. So whenever there are multiple instances of any resource, then we are going to use the counting semaphores. Another point to remember is that in case of binary semaphore, the initial value of the semaphore variable will be 1, but in case of counting semaphores, the initial value will be equal to the number of instances available for the resource. For example, In this particular example, the initial value of the semaphore variable will be 4 because 4 printers are available. The final question is, what is busy waiting problem? If we look at the definition of the wait function, the definition is that within the wait, the first thing that we do is we check while s, the semaphore variable value, is less than equal to 0. If true, then we wait or the process gets stuck into the while loop. Otherwise, decrement the value of s and the wait function will be over. Once the wait is over, the process will enter the critical section, because after wait we start with the critical section. Now let us suppose that there are two processes, P1 and P2. P1 first wants to enter the critical section. So initially the value of the semaphore variable s is 1 and P1 calls the wait function. So P1 checks while s is less than equal to 0. So is the value of s less than equal to 0? Is this condition true? The condition is false. So P1 will come out of the while loop and decrement the value of s by 1. So the value of s becomes 0 and P1 is able to enter the critical section. Next, P2 now wants to enter the critical section while P1 is already executing within the critical section. So P2 will also call wait. Now P2 executes while s less than equal to 0. Now the value of s is 0, so this condition becomes true and hence P2 gets stuck in this while loop. So it keeps on checking this while condition again and again until and unless it becomes false. Now every process gets the CPU for a fixed interval of time, because the operating system is a time sharing operating system. Now what will happen for the time till P2 holds the CPU? So for the entire duration till P2 was holding the CPU, P2 is not doing anything constructive. It is just executing one single statement, which is while s less than equal to 0. So it is checking this condition again and again until the condition becomes false. So what P2 has done is P2 has kept the CPU busy while it itself was waiting for the condition to become false, and this is what is termed as busy waiting. So the CPU is busy with the process P2 while P2 is waiting for the condition to become false. Okay, so this is what is termed as busy waiting, and this is not a very good situation, because till the time the process P2, or might be there are multiple processes which are stuck in this while loop P3, P4. So all those processes are just keeping the CPU busy while they are not doing any productive work. So for that particular duration of time, the CPU might have been used by some other process which was not stuck in this while loop. So busy waiting is not a very useful situation for the system. We will discuss some more questions on process synchronization in the next video. Do subscribe so that you do not miss out on any upcoming videos, and also share your comments or suggestions about these videos.